One of the most fascinating things about being human is this rich sense of self that we experience. We're able to think about who we are, what defines us as a person. But on top of that, we're also able to think about who other people are. And our perspective of them may be similar or different to the way that they see themselves. Now, I wanted to know what was going on inside the frontal lobe while people were engaged in these types of social thought processes. So in this small social network, for example, what did the brain activity look like in Terrell's brain when he was thinking about who he was, his sense of self, what defined him as a person? And was the way that he saw himself similar or different to the way that his group members saw him? The activity in their brains when they were thinking about who he was. Now, we brought 20 groups into the lab: sororities, fraternities, coworkers, friend groups, and one at a time, we brought each person in and we scanned their brain while they were either thinking about who they were or while they were thinking about who one of these other members of their group were. And we found something really, really interesting. We found that the brain activity, this constellation of neural firing in, say, Rosa's brain, when she's thinking about who she is, her sense of self, was very similar to the brain activity of that of her group members when they were thinking about who she was. That somehow her self-concept had been recapitulated in a way in the minds of her peers. Now, this wasn't perfect. There was variability. So say for Sam and Rosa, there may have been this really strong similarity between the brain representations. But for Aaliyah and Rosa, there may have been this much weaker similarity between the brain activity itself. But we were able to dig into that. And what we found was that social relationships mattered. That the degree to which Sam indicated that he knew Rosa, or the degree to which Jennifer indicated that she was similar to Rosa, was significantly related to the degree to which their brain representations, the brain activity, actually lined up with one another. Now, we're just beginning to scratch the surface about what it means for our brains to mirror each other in a way and how these personal relationships matter. But it would be fascinating to see how this develops longitudinally as we get to know each other. Do our brains start to mirror each other as we get to know each other? Or did we become friends because we already saw the world in a similar way? Now, understanding these concepts of how we see ourselves and how others see us can also serve as a foundation for starting to explore the negative side of this and seeing how things like depression and anxiety may modulate these effects. And ultimately can serve as a way to hopefully strengthen these connections that we have in these small social networks that we live in. Thank you.